Welcome to the Her Handmade Hustle Unplugged podcast. I'm Joanne Pearce, a female entrepreneur, small business coach, and a creative business owner on a mission to help and inspire other women out there who want to make a decent living doing something they love. If you have your own small business, or maybe you've been thinking about starting one but not sure where to start, then this podcast is for you. I share everything I know about starting a creative business from my own experience of running my handmade stationery company, Vintage Twee. It's as honest and as down to earth as me, and it's an eclectic mix of sound business advice, northern humour, and real life, because it's not easy, is it? This podcast celebrates the selflessness, the strength and resilience of women, because we possess a superpower so great that we can handle whatever life throws at us and come out the other side. We are survivors, we are warriors, and we are as determined as hell to succeed. Hello, and thank you for joining us today for what promises to be a brilliant, uplifting and awe-inspiring episode of the Her Handmade Hustle Unplugged podcast. Last week, at the end of the episode, I mentioned that I had a guest interview for today, and it's actually my first real interview with someone that I only just met and who I thought would be a truly amazing person to talk to and share her story with everyone. Her name is Debbie Lees. And weirdly enough, she actually lives just a few roads away from me. I pass her house every single day, and our paths have never crossed until now. Debbie is a woman who has beaten all odds, not just once, but twice in her life, undergoing an unbelievable total of 45 surgeries to be sat here with me today, telling us her story. She was born in the 1950s at home with facial paralysis, and a chance meeting between her mum and a plastic surgeon led to countless surgeries from a very young age to rebuild the muscles in her face. I mean, as you can imagine, Debbie had a lot to deal with during her childhood years, living with disfigurement, but her strength of character and her ability to stand up for herself warded off the bullies, and she began to live her life. She got married to her husband Anthony and had 2 children, Martin, who is now 42 and lives just north of San Francisco, and her daughter Charlotte, who is 39 and lives nearby to her. She also has 2 grandsons and a gorgeous dog called Hugo, who made an appearance on our podcast recording and apparently has his own Instagram account. Love it. Then, if life hadn't given her enough to deal with, Debbie was diagnosed with breast cancer in 2002, just 2 days before Christmas. Initially, she declined the doctor's advice of having a double mastectomy, and she spent her whole life dealing with disfigurement and just didn't want to go through it again, understandably. After a poor prognosis, if she didn't have the operation though, Debbie went through with it. And thank God, because she's here 22 years later, living a full and healthy life. It's incredible. She even trekked to Everest Base Camp in 2019. I mean, what an achievement. Totally puts me to shame. Debbie's working background is in travel. She now has numerous roles, including booking people's dream holidays as a travel counsellor and working for the NHS. She's also a tropic skincare ambassador, and she does some public speaking in schools where she tells her story called The Girl in the Mirror to help young people learn and promote positive self-image. She was honestly an absolute pleasure to talk to, especially as my first ever proper guest. So without any further ado, here's my interview with Debbie Lees. Okay. Hi Debbie. Thanks so
Hi,
much.
Joanne.
Thanks so much for joining me today. I mean, obviously I have done a little introduction to let everybody know who you are, the sort of background that you've got and everything, but we'll go into that today. But I just want to say, first of all, I can't believe we live this close to each other and we have never bumped into each other. We literally live around the corner.
Yeah.
Don't we?
Yeah, crazy.
It's
Crazy.
mad. Now we know each other and we've seen each other. We probably bump into each other every like 5 minutes, won't we?
Yeah.
But I mean, thanks for joining me. It's so good to have you. I mean, we've had a good chat before this podcast recording anyway. So Obviously, I know a lot about you and what you've been through to get to where you are today, and everything that you've got to tell people. So, I mean, yeah, can you just maybe introduce yourself, say hi, and then we'll go from there. Really, see what comes up.
Yeah. So I'm Debbie Lees. Live in Symondley,
Right near
which is
me.
near Gloucester. I've lived here since 1986.
Oh,
But I am a Mancunian. I was born and bred very close to the centre of Manchester.
still got the accent as well.
Uh, I've still got a Manchester accent. Some
Yeah.
people say I have, some people say I haven't. I do slip into sort of a bit posh now and again because I spent a long time in hospital as a child. And they didn't have schools in hospitals then. They do now.
They do.
In children's hospitals, they have schools, but they didn't then. So they used to get me, because it was quite unusual back then in the 60s to have a child in hospital for a long time.
Yeah.
So they got me a private tutor.
Brilliant.
And when you're being taught one-to-one, it's much quicker. And she ran out of things to teach me. And so I had a bit of elocution. So I get a bit of ribbon from the family because I say things like bath and glass, and
Very
I
posh.
try to slip back into Manchester and go do bath and glass, but sometimes I slip up. Yeah,
It happens. It happens. They always sound very posh to me, anyway. Not a typical accent round Glossop where we live. You can tell. So you
right,
just,
broad up Gloucester.
yeah, exactly. So yeah, you mentioned there, just to let everybody know, that you were in hospital as a child. Are you okay telling
Yeah,
everybody about that and what happened?
yeah, sure. So I was born paralysed on the left side of my face. Nobody was quite sure what it was when I was first born. I was born at home. I think called the midwife. That was my birth. Midwife in the living room under the window. Um,
Brilliant.
and there was obviously something wrong, and I was dashed off to hospital. My mum spent a couple of years trailing around various hospitals and doctors. And then she met a guy called Randall Champion, which I think is a fabulous name. And he either had to be a surgeon or an actor.
Absolutely.
So unfortunately, he was a surgeon. And so he came up with that I was paralysed, and they had to find out the extent that I was paralysed because, like a baby, they can still kick and everything,
Mm,
even if the legs were paralysed. Anyway, they found out it was just the left side of my face. Don't know why, don't know how, just is.
yeah.
Um, and then he came up with a plan of what he could do because as I grew, because it was paralysed, there'd be no support on my face, so it would drop.
Yeah.
And I might not be able to eat properly. I might not be able to speak properly and things like that.
Yes.
So he came up with a plan, and what he did was probably seems quite normal now, but then it was like something off Star Trek. He took tendons out of my foot and tissues out of my leg, and those are all in my face. And so these tendons make like a sling that hold my face in place.
Wow. Isn't it
So
amazing?
it was pretty amazing.
So
Yeah.
back in what, the 60s, did you say that was then?
Back in the 60s, yeah.
I mean, that must have been like pioneering work for back then as
It
well.
was pioneering. It was pioneering. However, still to this day, I've not met a doctor that's come across it before.
Really? Wow.
Whenever I go to if I go to hospital, it can be a nightmare because they're so interested in because they'll see the scars on my foot, on my leg, and they're so interested in it they forget why I'm there. And I always remember, I remember as a teenager, I hurt my ankle roller skating. I'd been to roller arena,
Oh,
and my ankle came up like a balloon. So I went down to A&E, and they asked me what the scar was on my foot. I told them, "Oh, could I just bring my colleague in to have a look?" Yeah, yes, of course you can. Colleague comes in and has a look. "Oh, can I just bring someone else in to have a look at this?" Well, it's so fascinating. "Well, could you just do something about the pain in my ankle first?"
for this problem. And then they're there with their notepads trying to figure out everything else.
Yeah,
Oh my gosh.
yeah, yeah.
Oh,
My first antenatal when I was having my son, and the doctor's asking me, the history, my history, blah, 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 pumping away, because then it was a hand pump on your blood pressure.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah.
It was so tight because he's asking me these questions and he's pumping as he's asking me. And it's hurting.
Have you forgotten?
And I had all these bruises on my arm. Yeah, he was just,
It's amazing. It's an amazing story, though, isn't it? I mean, gosh, what you've been through. I mean, how many surgeries was it that you told me that you had on your face?
I had 13, I think, on my face.
That's crazy, isn't it?
Um,
Wow. Up until what
yeah,
age that was that then? Teenage age, sorry.
mainly up to the age of 12.
Yeah.
And then I had one done in my 20s. No, two done in my 20s. As my husband used to say, I treat it like the hairdressers because I just go along and say, well, I'm just not happy with this bit here. Could you just sort of taper this bit? And that's a bit of a lump there. I'd like that taken off there. And,
Yeah, like,
you
oh my
know,
gosh. I mean, what I can't even imagine the strength that it took to get through that as a child as well, I mean, it's hard enough being a child, isn't it? And then to have
yeah,
to deal with that as well, and being different
yeah,
because
it is. Because kids are honest, but sometimes they're cruelly honest.
they are absolutely.
Um, and I've got a confession to make. If
Mhm.
someone was mean to me, I just used to bash them.
Yeah, do you know what? My
So
husband says the same thing to our daughter. Says, if somebody hits you, you hit them back, and the teachers are just like,
yeah,
"Well, that's probably not a great idea," but I agree
yeah,
with him. It's you've got
yeah.
to stand up for yourself.
Well, I soon got a reputation. Don't mess with me.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely,
mm,
exactly. And you learn, don't you, to get strong and to fight for yourself because life's hard. Life is
yeah,
so hard, and you are one lady that knows that, and we'll get into that in a bit more detail. But I mean, yeah, you've done fantastic to get where you are today. Obviously, you've been through a hell of a lot.
thank-
You have, and so you have a travel business, don't you?
yeah.
So you
Have a
are,
travel business.
yeah,
Started that in 2006
yeah, wow.
as a travel counsellor. This is my office, which I'm glad you can't see much of it because it is like a bomb's hit it behind me.
It can't be as bad as mine. I've got
Um,
baby toys and it's still in mine that have been down, should be in the loft 5 years ago. But yeah, so you had so you've got a travel council business and you book
mhm.
holidays, don't you, for people and help them find the perfect.
Book holidays. Yeah, make people's dreams come true. I also do business travel, which make people's dreams come true. Yes, she's still doing away because the businessmen dream of their business trip being easy, quickest
Yeah,
route, blah blah blah.
as
So
quick as you can, yeah, to help
yeah,
them get to where they've got to be. Is that like for meetings and stuff and for things they've got to go on? Right, I'm with you.
yeah, and sales reps and consultants and things like that.
Brilliant. So you're a very busy lady then, aren't you, by the sounds of it?
I am a very busy lady because that's not my only job at the minute.
No, oh yes, of course. Tell us, you've got another job as well.
Yeah. Well, when COVID hit, as you can imagine, the travel business suffered slightly. Slightly? No, it just went to thumb. No one could travel.
Yeah.
And for us in the travel business, it didn't just mean that we stopped earning. We had to pay people back for
Mm,
holidays that they'd booked.
of course.
So it probably took getting on for 18 months before I was back on breaking even. Until then, I was in debt because I had to. Travel Counsellors is a franchise, so
Yeah,
our company, looked after us,
yeah.
but we had to pay them back for what we had been paid that then didn't travel. So it probably took me about 18 months to get out of that.
Wow.
So when COVID hit, I spent the first few weeks repatriating people. Not all my customers. I got lots of calls. Oh, my friend's stuck in Australia. Can you help me? And
Really? Wow.
so for the first 3 weeks of COVID, I probably went to bed 2 nights a week because when people are on the other side of the world, they're in a different time zone. And airlines are shutting down, shutting down, shutting down. So you can book someone today to come home on a flight tomorrow. Airline shuts down overnight. You've got
That's
to find them another flight and so on.
right.
Uh, it was crazy, crazy, crazy. But I managed to get quite a few people home who wouldn't have got home otherwise. And they just spent the first 6 months wherever they were in the world. So,
Imagine just being trapped somewhere, can you, when that happened?
no. One lady who she'd emigrated to Australia many years ago, and she was coming back to the UK to live. She'd sold a house, she'd given up a job, everything.
Yeah.
And the morning that her furniture and everything was on its way, the morning that she was supposed to fly home, she got up to have an email from the airline to say her flight from Australia to, I think it was Abu Dhabi, was cancelled. No, Australia to Abu Dhabi was still going ahead. Abu Dhabi to the UK was
Right.
cancelled,
Right.
which was absolutely no good. And the
No.
last place she wanted to be stranded was Abu
Good.
Dhabi. And it took us a week to get her home because flights kept getting cancelled, or they changed the rules. They'd want a COVID test, blah, blah, blah,
Yeah, exactly. Was she at the
stuff
airport then
like
that
that.
whole time? Was she just at the airport, or did she have a hotel?
When I first spoke to her, she was about to leave the house, and she had to leave the house because
Yeah.
she had sold it, and
Yes.
and so she had to go in a hotel. She had to find herself a hotel and go in a hotel while we were trying to get her a new flight. It was just crazy.
So stressful. Yeah, it was a really, really bad time. My sister's also in the travel business, and she has her own
Ah,
travel recruitment company, and it just completely, she completely went dead.
yeah,
Same with me with weddings. That's what I do, and it just disappeared. It was so
yeah,
hard, wasn't it? But here we are.
it was.
We've
Yeah,
managed
we
to
came
get
through
ourselves
it.
on our feet,
When
haven't
I
we?
did that for a few weeks, and then I had about a couple of weeks doing nothing,
Yeah,
but then I got bored, and that's one of my worst traits is I do get very bored.
me too.
So I got myself a job on Track and Trace. So I was running a team of people that spoke to you if you'd been in contact with someone or been somewhere and stuff.
Yeah.
I did that for a few months.
Was it
And I
interesting?
ended up, it was interesting because you got to know more of sort of what was going on with COVID and how the track and trace. And I mean, I know there's a lot of bad press about track and trace, blah, blah, blah. It was a really good idea.
Mhm.
If it had have worked properly,
Yeah.
it was a really good idea. You know, if I was diagnosed today and I was, oh, I had lunch with Joanne tomorrow, they could phone you and
Yeah.
say,
Yeah.
you was in contact yesterday with someone, keep an eye on yourself type of thing. So the idea was good. It was put together very quickly. So that's why it got that press. But
Well,
yeah, the idea was good. And then I did a few other jobs, sort of universal credit and stuff. Every time a contract ended, I'd go for something else.
yeah.
Didn't like doing nothing.
No.
And ended up on the NHS. And I'm still working for the NHS. And travel's picking up.
Yes, good. Good. You're going to be so busy then. And that's why I wanted to talk to you, is because you've just got so much going on, and you're a real representation of women and what we manage to do and juggle, day to day. I mean, you've got a family, haven't you? But they're a bit older. Your children are older. That's right, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
My kids are 42 and
Yeah.
39.
Yes, exactly. So one of them, I'm 41, so one of them's near my age. So yeah, I mean, it never stops for us, does it? Even when your children are older, it never stops. But
Yeah, and I've got 2 grandsons now.
exactly, and your grandparent duties,
Yeah,
it keeps going on.
yeah,
But yeah, I mean, also,
yeah,
like, I remember you telling me, you spend some time in schools, don't you, with doing a talk?
yeah. I do a presentation called The Girl in the Mirror,
Yes.
and it's basically my life story, really. I talk about being born paralysed and what that involves, the things you have to overcome, blah, blah, blah. And then I think what happened when in 2002, I think we're going to go on to in a minute.
Yes, yes, we will do, definitely.
I talk about all that. And I'm basically giving the message of when you look in the mirror, there's very few people that look in the mirror and go, wow, you're looking gorgeous today.
It's
The
true.
majority of us look in the mirror, oh, my nose is too big, I've got a spot, oh, I don't like my hair's too curly, hair's too straight, blah, blah, blah. And that girl in the mirror is the biggest bully you'll ever meet. You
Mm,
might meet other bullies along the way, but she's always there. And boy, I mean, for me, it's a girl in the mirror because I'm a girl.
Yeah.
And she never leaves you. She's still there for me. I'm going to be 66 in a couple of weeks. She's still there. She's there every morning when I clean my teeth. She's there when I put my makeup on.
Yeah.
And so the message that I try and give out is just, step away from the mirror.
Yeah.
Don't let her stop you following your dreams and doing what you want to do. And I do it in schools and I do it at dinners and stuff like that.
Well, you don't know what difference it's making to people, especially young girls, because, I mean, on no level is this the same as you. I was bullied when I was little as well, but mine was because of my hair, very curly, red hair, but it got to the point where it went on for years and years, and then I just didn't go to school anymore. I missed all of high school, and I had like an education I started in a youth centre when I had like a tutor coming in to teach me in a youth centre. And then I went to a very small unit and I got my GCSEs, but it still affects me to this day. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah.
I'm 41 and sometimes like I still look in the mirror and I'm so critical of myself, and I can't even look back on pictures during that time of when I was maybe I
Yep.
was 8 or 9. I hate it. I just think, my
Mm.
hair was very short. I looked a bit like Annie. My dad cut it all off because he's a barber, but he cut it off because people were bullying me. But then I got bullied even more because I looked like a
Oh,
boy, and it just
yeah.
it's awful. It's hard to talk about, isn't it? When it stays with
Yeah.
you, no matter how old you are, it stays right with you. And I think it's so
Mm.
important to get that message across to young girls as well, because it is so much more. And you realise as you get older that it's so much more than just you in the mirror. You have to not
Yeah.
let things stop you, and get your confidence.
You have people that say to you, like my family and my friends say to me, I don't even notice it, and the only way, because I never not notice it. Whenever I look in the mirror, I never not see it. And so you get confused as to, well, how
Mhm.
can they not see it when I always see it?
It's funny, isn't it?
And I think the way that I've sort of worked it out is they see the whole you,
Yes.
whereas you just see that two-dimensional
Mhm.
face in the mirror.
So
They see you, your personality, your heart, and everything.
yeah, you see you as a whole person. You're right. You're absolutely right. And I think a lot of people, even when you've got family and friends that may say to you, "Oh God, I don't like this about myself. I don't like that." You don't know. You don't notice it. You're right. We are so
No,
self-critical, and we have to
we
stop
are.
it, don't we?
We are. And
It's
we're really harsh on ourselves.
yeah.
And I've got a thing that I say at the minute, and I say it to my team all the time, and they laugh at me. Don't say anything to or about yourself that you wouldn't say to or about a friend. You'll look in the mirror and go, oh my God, you look like a hippopotamus in that. If you, like, tried to dress on or something and said, what do you think of this, Deb? That is not what I would say to you.
Yeah.
If I didn't like it, I might say, I don't know if that brings the best out in you. Let's have a look at some others or something. I would not say, oh my God, Joanne, you look like a hippopotamus in that. But you say it to yourself.
You do. You look honestly lately. I mean, yes, we've been through a lot. So we'll get onto that shortly. But like, you look at yourself in the mirror and you're so critical, and you
Yeah.
have to stop it because your confidence, mine has gone down massively in the last few months. It really
Mm.
has. And I think, who is this person? Like, why am I being like this towards myself? We should be loving ourselves. We really should. Everything that we've been through and all our battle
Yeah.
scars and everything, they're part of
Yeah.
us. um
Yeah.
yeah, I just think you're such an inspiration to talk to because you always make me feel better. And I think, what you have been, you do, you really do. We've both been dealt quite a shit hand, but I think it's safe to say that yours is definitely the worst of the two.
There's none that's worse than another. Everybody is fighting their own battles, and no battle's worse than another. It's your
Mm,
battle.
true, we've all got our own. But can we talk about what happened to you then? Is it 2002? Did you say it was?
2002, 23rd of December, 2002. Merry Christmas.
So you've been through everything
Yeah.
as a child. You had all your surgeries, everything that you had to endure. And then 2002 comes, and yes, you got some news, didn't you? You got breast cancer,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah. 23rd of December, went to the Nightingale Centre because I had a lump. Fully confident because I'd had lumps before and, I had lumpy boobs.
Yeah.
But this time I was told that I had breast cancer. I then had a lumpectomy in the January. And when they did the lumpectomy, they do sort of a belt and braces, take shavings around it, blah, 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 to see if they can get what they call margins, which is a space around the tumour that's cancer-free. And they couldn't with me. So I ended up, I needed a mastectomy.
Yeah.
Wasn't an easy decision, as I'd always. So, you know, when women get together, and especially if wine's involved, and you always end up talking about periods, childbirth, men, breast cancer. Yeah. And I'd always said, if I got it, I'd never have a mastectomy. I've lived with disfigurement all my life. I'm not having any more. End of.
Mm.
And I was adamant. And when they told me I only had cancer in one breast, but
Yeah.
they advised that I had both removed.
Yeah.
And I said, well, I need some time to think about it. And they said, yeah, sure. So you have a think about it and then just let us know. Do you want just one or two? So I said, no, I need to think about, do I want any? And he said, your prognosis, if you don't have the mastectomy, we're looking at anything from 6 months.
Really? Is that what they told you?
But I was still, in my head, I wasn't having a mastectomy. And at that time, when I'd had the lumpectomy, I developed this really horrible infection.
Yeah.
And it went on for 15 weeks. So, and I was quite poorly with that. And it was during that time that they told me that I needed the mastectomy. So I was sleeping on the sofa. In fact, I spent virtually all day on the sofa. I was so weak with this
Yeah.
infection. And I had 2 caricatures on the wall of Martin and Charlotte, my kids, that we'd had done in Florida in 1988. And they were like staring at me all the time that I was laying on the sofa, these 2 pictures. And so in the end, I just decided, well, if I actually say no to this mastectomy, I'm saying to my kids, my boobs mean more to me than you do.
Oh, yeah. Oh my gosh.
And that's
Well,
why I went ahead. And one of the things I was worried about missing was when Charlotte came to get married, not so much the wedding, but the shopping beforehand and, you
yes.
know, the dress shopping and that.
Oh gosh.
So
So emotional.
obviously I went ahead,
Yeah.
had reconstruction. And I must say, I've now got the best boobs I've ever had
Yeah. We both have, haven't
because I
we?
didn't have much of a boob, but these are amazing.
That's,
And when I do my talk, I always say my boobs didn't go to school with me, so they don't know where south is, so they're just staying where they are.
that's so good. I
Uh,
know. We have definitely have that in common, don't we? We have the best
yeah,
constructed
yeah,
boobs in Glossop, to say the least.
exactly.
Oh,
All my,
and all from our own bodies as
so
well. Yours was from your back, wasn't it?
I've got implants. I've got silicone implants, and then muscle taken from my back, twisted round under my
Yeah.
armpits, and plonked in front.
Amazing what they do, isn't it? It's
Yeah,
absolutely.
and you can make it sound so simple. Just cut
No.
out, twisted, plonked. And it's not. It's massive.
Oh my God, how painful is it afterwards? I mean, gosh, I'm nearly six
Oh,
months down the line now, and I'm still in pain with my stomach where they took mine from. So
yeah,
like, it's a
yeah.
long
I
journey.
get back pain.
Do you?
Yeah. You get an electric bed. I got an electric bed, and it was one of the best things I've ever done.
Oh, you've got one now, you mean? Oh wow.
Yeah, still got one.
Oh
Yeah,
no.
I would not go back to not having an electric bed.
Well, it was a
Because
godsend.
all those, yeah, because you wake up in the night, you need a wee, and you sort
Yeah.
of lay there. Well, I can't get up on my own. Anthony, I need a wee.
Exactly. Did you teach you the log roll where you have to roll out of bed, the physios?
Yeah,
Oh my God. Still sometimes have to do that
yeah.
now. I can't get out. It's ridiculous. But, you're my inspiration. Like I say, you're okay now. How many years later are we now? We're talking what? Was your reconstruction in?
I will be. My reconstruction started my mastectomy was in the May of 2003. So it's 21 years this year that
With?
uh,
I
I
mean,
would say that I've had these, but it's not these that I've had because it went on for several years and
yes.
they have been changed. So, I think these are about 10, 12 years old now.
Wow. How many surgeries in total was it? I remember you telling me it was a lot, wasn't it, on your breasts? It was.
17, I think, on my breast. In total, of my life, I've had 45 surgeries because I've had other bits and pieces as well, like gallbladders removed and womb removed and stuff like that. In fact, my son, go on.
I was going to say, when they get you to fill that form out, excuse me, when you have an operation, and they say, "Have you had any previous surgeries before?" I bet you're there for hours.
And I go, really? My daughter always laughs. If she's with me, she laughs. My son used to be in the army, and him and one of his army friends used to say, "We want to be there at your post-mortem because it's going to be so funny." Because they're going to open you up and say, "Someone already done this," because there's so many bits missing. And then they'll go, "Well, is she on the back or is she on the front? And is she at the top or at the bottom?" Because you've got your foot in your mouth and your back in your front and you're empty. And they think it's going to be very amusing. I'm glad my death will give you some amusement,
Unbelievable. You used to have a lot of scars. You've got a lot of battle scars, haven't you?
I've got a lot of scars, but they're all wear them like medals.
Yeah, exactly. They're all part of you, and it's such an amazing story, honestly. And the fact that you're sat here today, because we've had this conversation, obviously, me telling you about my sister and what she's going through as well at the moment. She finished her chemotherapy last week, so we're just waiting on her operation now, and a PET scan and all that. But the anxieties, you'll know exactly what it's like and how it feels. But I often tell her about you and the fact that you're still sat here today. And you said that to me, didn't you, last time we spoke, that you tell her that I'm still here now. I'm 66.
Yeah.
How many years are we talking about? 20. Oh, a lot, isn't it? 20.
It'll be 22 this year since my diagnosis. It'll be
Yeah,
22 at Christmas since my
exactly.
diagnosis.
It's funny.
And here I am.
Here you are, exactly, talking to me. My first official
Yeah.
podcast guest as well, which is amazing. It's so good to have you, honestly. But yeah, I mean, what a fabulous story. I wanted to ask you about any sort of advice you've got for, there's a lot of women that listen to this who have got their own business or who are thinking of starting their own business and stuff. And obviously, you're doing it. You're doing really well. And I just wanted to ask if you got any advice for them that you can give to them if they're feeling on those days that it's not happening. Some days when you just have really slow days and you just think you're trying and you put your energies into it.
You're always going to have them. You know, in the travel industry, you work ages on a booking and you'll ring the person and they'll say, "Oh, well, I found it £20 cheaper online."
Yeah.
Value yourself. Don't sell yourself cheap. They've got it £20 online. Okay, go and book it. You'll be doing everything yourself, and when anything goes wrong, you'll be on your own. Go and book it. If you don't value me, I don't need your business. But value yourself. Don't let it get you down. Just keep going. Talk about your business at every opportunity. Network.
Yes.
Because sometimes having a business can be very lonely, especially if you're like a one-man band.
Yeah, definitely.
It can be very lonely. Go out networking. There's loads of us out there, and you become a family that looks after each other. There'll always be somebody that's got your back.
It's true because, I've worked at my own for 15 years as well. It's true. And I think that you just, it's been great meeting you because you don't realise there's people around the corner who, you've got all this stuff in common with. And it's important to get out there. I've shied away from it recently, probably because of my operation and everything as well. I've not felt the confidence to do it, but I need to get back out there and meet people and say, look, I'm here. I'm here to help. Everything. Yeah, it's really important. And people wanting your help. That's the thing. They'll be wanting it. You sat at home thinking, I want to start a business. I don't know how to do it. So yeah, I think that's really important.
Loads of help and advice out there. If you've not started, okay, find some networking groups and go to networking groups. You don't have to have started because there'll be loads of help out there for you to help you get started. You can go to a networking group and say, I'm thinking of starting a business, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And, oh, well, I can help you with that. I can print you some business cards. I can do this for you, blah, blah, blah. And you just build up this relationship and this family. And these silly things like if you're working on your own business and it's just you, who goes to your Christmas party? Where's your work's Christmas do?
We don't have one, do we?
No. So you create one. You have one with the people that
Yeah.
you're networking with. You arrange to go and have a dinner and, have a We're all self-employed Christmas do.
Yeah, definitely. Just don't sit there on your own with a microwave meal. Go out, meet people. It's true.
Do not sit in your office waiting for the phone to ring. If the phone's not ringing, go out. Just
Yeah,
go to Tesco, talk to people.
yeah. You're right. Because I only found out about you because a friend told me about you and said maybe you should contact her and see if she will come on your podcast. She's got a really interesting story. And that's just through chatting. Like, through
Yeah,
chatting to somebody local who happened to know you. And you're
yeah,
right. I think you never know who you're going to meet. And I often say this to a lot of the ladies that I
not
work
at all.
with: just talk to people. Like, there's a lot of ladies
Yeah,
that I work with that do craft fairs and stuff like that. And I say, you don't know who you're going to be stood next to, or you don't know who's going to come over to your table, what their job is, who they know. Speak to them. And that is networking, isn't it? Networking is a word that
that
people
is
don't know.
networking.
That's what it is.
And it's not just that person that you're talking to,
Mm.
it's all the people that they know.
Exactly. And you'll find they'll say, oh, I know someone that
So
does that. I can get them to help you. Yeah,
exactly that,
you're right.
exactly that.
It's always
Still to this day, my biggest booking that I've ever done, I was in hospital having one of my breast surgeries,
mhm.
and I always took my laptop in because it gives you something to do.
Mm.
And the nurse came in to do my obs, when they come and wake you up every 4 hours to take your blood pressure and stuff. So she came in to do my obs, and she said, "What are you doing?" And I went, "Oh, I'm just doing a bit of work." Blah, blah, blah. "Work? Why? What do you do?" Blah, 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 talking about it. And she said, "Oh, I want to get married in Thailand." So I
Wow.
said, "Okay. Well, would you be able to help me with it?" "Yeah, of course I will."
No.
So this was December because I had most of my surgeries done at Christmas. And the reason I had my surgeries done at Christmas was that's when the travel industry was always quietest.
And
So I didn't lose too much time working. But I used to take my laptop in and do bits of work while I was there. And this nurse came in and we had that conversation. And I said, "Give me a ring in January." So she gave me a ring in January, and I booked for her and all her family to go out to Thailand for the wedding. I arranged flowers. I was
well,
talking to Thai wedding coordinators and sending them colour swatches and stuff. And she had the most perfect wedding.
oh wow, what a story. Oh my God. And that was all from going in for your breast surgery. And you just don't know who you're gonna meet. That's crazy. And you booked a wedding for her. Oh, did you see the pictures afterwards? Did you see everything? Did she
Oh
send
gosh,
you
yeah.
everything?
She
Really?
had a party when she came back as well, which she invited us
Oh,
to.
did
And
she?
I'm still
Oh,
in contact with her because she
oh,
actually lives on Tunel now.
oh wow, not far at
So
all
I'm
then.
still in contact with her. No.
Amazing. So that's a perfect example, isn't it, of how you can help people that you just business opportunities happen, don't they, when you're out and about and when you're meeting people. And you're right, don't sit at home and wait for the phone to ring.
No, because it's not going to do, because no one knows to ring you.
That's right.
Practice in your head different ways of bringing up your business
Mm.
in a conversation. If you're just chatting with someone, "Oh, you're buying sun creams, where you off?"
Yeah, so good one. Yeah. Get into the holiday island, Tesco. Yes, I love it. Oh, I need to think about this then as well for our businesses for sure. Where to hang out to find the people that are going to be your target audience, isn't it?
Yeah,
And it helps that you have a smile on your face, you're friendly, it all they buy into you as well, don't they, customers? They want someone to book their holiday who they trust and who they like, and that's why they'll
yeah,
choose you. And if
yeah.
they know you,
And that's it. I mean, booking online is fine. It's all well and good
yeah,
if everything goes right.
yes, exactly. Do you know my mum used
But
to
if
say,
anything goes wrong,
yeah. She used to say this to me because obviously my mum passed away a few years ago, but she was big on travel agents and booking through a travel agency. And she used to say to me, "Joanne, when you book a holiday, always use a travel agent. Don't do this online stuff because if anything happens and you're stuck there, what are you going to do?" And she was right. Now
yeah,
I've got a family of my
yeah,
own. That's exactly what I would do.
yeah.
Um,
Ghostbusters are not going to help, so who are
no,
you going to call? Yeah,
you're my new travel agent anyway now. So
yeah.
you see, I've got to meet you through there as well. So when I can get a holiday together, I'll be knocking on your door for sure. But yeah, I mean,
Excellent.
just to ask you as well, what do you think your proudest moment has been so far in your journey as an entrepreneur, personal or professional?
To be honest, one of my most amazing, I mean, sort of ignoring having kids and stuff like
Yeah.
that. It was around about February of last year, and I did a virtual presentation to a local secondary school.
Right.
where I did the girl in the mirror story. And a couple of days later, I got emails with feedback from the presentation. And there was a young girl who went to see her pastoral teacher after the presentation and asked for help because of the presentation.
Wow.
And that it completely blew me away.
Yeah, it made it worth it, just that one. You know, obviously that you
Yeah.
helped that one person.
Yeah.
How old would she have been
If it
then?
never happens again,
Mm,
she'd have been around 12, 13.
yeah,
Because it was year 8, 9 that I was talking to. Yeah, and she was struggling and never asked for help, and she'd gone and asked for help.
that's fantastic. That's so lovely. What a lovely way to, you know, contribute as well to this person's future. I mean, you might have built her confidence up so much
Yeah.
just for her reaching out for some help.
Yeah.
It makes it all worthwhile, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It really
Yeah.
does.
Oh yeah, it totally broke me that.
Oh,
I
yeah.
went to pieces when I read that. That was just,
I bet you did. I
yeah.
bet you did. Oh, that's amazing. Well, I mean, it's been obviously amazing talking to you. I just wanted to finish with a little bit about
Yeah.
what you're excited about most for the future of your business or things that are going on in your life. What is it that's exciting you at the moment?
Well, I'm going to start a new job within the NHS at the minute. That's on the 1st of October. I'm going to be working for a department called CHIS, which is Child Health Information Service. So I'm looking forward to that. I've become a pensioner on the 20th of September. Yeah, so I'll officially be a pensioner.
You'll get your bus pass, won't you?
Um, I'll get my bus pass. Yeah, I don't like buses, I will confess. However, I will apply for my bus pass, and do you know why I'll apply for it?
Go on.
It's a very good form of ID
Oh,
that
yes.
a lot of places accept,
There you
because
go.
I have still got the old pink driving license.
Yeah.
So I've not got a photo ID driving license. My only photo ID is my passport, and lots of places want 2 photo IDs.
That's right.
So I'm
Oh,
going to get my bus pass.
get the bus pass. Well, I'll just tell you a quick funny story about this. Everyone will laugh at this. And my dad's just got his a few years ago. He's 71 now. But he had to renew his driving licence a few months ago. And dad being dad, he sent off his bus pass by accident to the DVLA. Just renew his driving licence. And they sent it right back. And they were like, yeah, this is the wrong pass that we need to receive. So they had to go and send his proper driving licence. It was so funny.
Oh,
So I sent the bloody bus
oh
to the
dear.
DVLA. So don't do that.
They look a bit similar.
He did well, you know, same size. Never let him forget that one. But yeah, I
Oh,
mean,
no, I bet you don't.
oh, it's hilarious. But I've really enjoyed talking to you, Debbie. Thanks so much for coming on.
I
I
have
know
to.
there's going to be
No problem.
loads of women. There's loads of women that are waiting to listen to this. Trust me, because they've been messaging me. I've been telling them about you. So I'm really hoping that they enjoy it and listen about your story. It's incredible, and I always think of you now whenever I'm having those days when I just think I'm struggling, you know, emotionally as well. And I think about what you've been through and what you have achieved. And I'm such a champion for the strength of women and what we're capable of. And anyone that's listening to this that might be going through
Yeah.
a difficult time, I just want them to know that it's possible to still achieve your dreams and to still keep
Of course
going.
it is.
Because, you know, we don't have a
Yeah.
choice. We just do it, don't we? Especially when you've got kids
No.
as well. Like you said, they were your reason for, well, you saved your own life
Yeah.
by doing what you did. And they were
Mm,
your main reason.
yeah.
So it's important for
And
every.
I'll say to everyone watching this the
Yeah.
same as I say to the kids when I do a school talk. So after this, go out and say, here I am. This is me. Have it.
Love it.
And that's what we all need to do.
What a brilliant way to finish. Thank you so much. That's absolutely fun. I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that today. I'm going to actually go out there now and be like, right.
Here
Um,
I am. This is me. Have it.
oh, thank you.
Joanne, it's been lovely talking to you. Thanks for
So,
inviting me.
oh, not at all. Thank you. And just before you go, quickly, your business is called, it's the Travel Counsellors franchise, isn't
Yeah.
it? So
Debbie Lee's travel counsellor.
yeah.
Um, I'm also a Tropic ambassador. If anyone wants,
Yes.
beautiful skin,
Oh,
I
you
do
are.
Tropic.
Oh, what I'll do is on the show notes for this
Yeah,
podcast episode, I'm going to put some links to your information on there, if that's okay, so people can get in touch if they
yeah,
want to as
yeah.
well. I might need
Anyone
skincare.
involved with a school or a group, I'll come and talk. And
Oh, of course, yes. Oh, that'll be brilliant. I will put some notes on there. I might even pop it on my website as well, on my blog section, so people
yeah,
can get in touch if they want to. But yeah, thanks so much for joining me.
right.
Yeah, and
Thanks
we'll
for having me.
not a problem. Take care, Debbie. Bye for now.
Take care. Bye.
Wow, what an interview. I know it left me feeling emotional, inspired, and humbled. And it just made me think about what is actually possible with the right mindset and attitude. I really hope you enjoyed listening to Debbie's story too. Please do leave us a comment if you can on this episode and rate it and review it, because we would love to hear from you. If you want to get in touch with Debbie, maybe you're looking for someone to help you with booking a holiday, or maybe you'd like to inquire about her speaking at a school or an event, I'll put all her details in the show notes so you can contact her using that information. And I certainly know who I'll be booking my next holiday with. Next week, we have another interview with another fabulous small business owner, the lovely Asida from Pashmizi. Um, it's a beautiful luxury Italian silk scarf company. She gets them all handmade in Italy. She's been featured in Glamour magazine. She's just started her business and she's here to tell us all about it and how she has got where she has got today. Thank you so much for joining us, and I look forward to seeing you again next week. Bye for now.